multiplying and dividing fractions. So when you multiply or divide fractions, they do not need to have common denominators like they did when we added and subtracted them. When you are multiplying them, when it says to multiply, like example 1 here, you're simply going to do numerator times denominator, and then denominator times denominator. You're then going to simplify your new fraction and keep repeating until you get its simplest form or it can't simplify any further. When we divide, we have a 3-rule phrase that we use, and it's keep, change, flip. And then you have to solve it using the multiplication properties. So keep means you're going to keep the first fraction or your numerator the exact same. You're going to change the division sign into a multiplication sign. You're then going to flip your second fraction or the denominator, and then you're going to, like I said, use your multiplication rules and simplify until you can't any further. So if we look at our 4 examples down here, the first one, it's saying that you're going to multiply them together. So when I multiply these two together, numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So 2 times 3 is going to give me 6. 3 times 4 is going to give me 12. Since they're both evens, I know that they're both divisible by 2. If you know of a bigger number to start off with, you don't always have to start with 2 or 3, the smallest. But if you're unsure, always start with what you know. We know that they're even, so we know that they're divisible by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is going to give me 3. 12 divided by 2 is going to give me 6. And yes, we can go even further because 3 and 6 are both divisible by 3. So if I divide them both by 3, 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. So your final answer is going to be 1/2. Knowing your multiplication facts is going to be very handy when you're solving these, because then it's going to take almost no time at all to reduce as far as you can. For example 2, I have the whole number 4 times 5/6. We can write a whole number with a denominator of 1, and it doesn't change the value of that whole number. So now I have 2 fractions that I'm multiplying together. So again, numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So 4 times 5 is going to give me 20. 1 times 6 is going to give me 6. This is what we call an improper fraction. So to get an improper fraction, first reduce as much as you can like we did up here, and then you're going to have to do long division. So because one ends in a 0 and one ends in a 6, I know that they're both evens, so they're both divisible by 2. So now I have 20 divided by 2 is going to give me 10. 6 divided by 2 is going to give me 3. Now I have what we call a prime number, so I can't divide that any further, so now I'm just going to have to do long division. So my denominator goes on the outside, my numerator goes on the inside. 3 goes into 10 3 times, because 3 times 3 is going to give me 9. When I subtract, 10 minus 9 is going to give me 1. My remainder is my new numerator, and your denominator of 3 stays the same. So this is the same thing as 3 and 1/3. We try not to use improper fractions because it's not clean. We would like to see mixed numbers. For 3 and 4, these are those divisions, so these are those 3-step rules that I have up here. So when it's dividing, you keep the first fraction, so 3 over 2. I flip my sign, or I change my sign, sorry, and I flip my fraction. So the numerator is now the denominator, denominator is now the numerator. So my 5 is on top, and my 4 is on the bottom. Now, we still have to solve by doing what we did up in examples 1 and 2. So, numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. 3 times 5 is going to give me 15, and 2 times 4 is going to give me 8. No number goes into both of these evenly, so now I'm just going to have to do my long division to make it a mixed number. So I have the 8 on the outside, the 15 on the inside. 8 goes into 15 one time. When I subtract, I get 7. So my remainder is my new numerator, and the denominator stays the same. So this is going to equal 1 and 7/8. And the last example for this topic, if I have 5/6 divided by 3/4, again, you keep the first fraction, you change the sign to multiplication, and then you flip the second fraction. So now I have 5 times 4 over 6 times 3. 5 times 4 is going to give me 20. 6 times 3 is going to give me 18. Reduce this as much as you can, so I know that 20 and 18 are both evens. I can divide them both by 2, so I'm going to get 10 over 9, and now I do some quick long division. 9 goes into 10 one time. 1 times 9 is 9. When I subtract, I have 1 left over. That's my new numerator, and the denominator of 9 stays the same. So I get 1 and 1/9.